All right, guys, we're back here on Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel. More SEC basketball reaction. We've done one stream today. We talked about 0 upsets, Max. Won a lot of thrilling action in the first 2 games. Kentucky, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State. However, the thrill has picked up a bit. The thrill score, if you will.
Yes.
As Missouri gets 2 buzzer beaters to beat Oklahoma. Yes, exactly how it sounds. 2 buzzer beaters. We'll talk about that in a second.
Unreal.
But the biggest story is that Auburn goes into Gainesville, takes it to the Gators, 76-67. The Auburn fans who've been all year long just sitting around saying, wait a minute, when is our moment? When are we going to get to officially declare that we are back, baby? We're back. Well, the Auburn Tigers, who came into this game 3-3, 12-7 overall, just went to Florida, and now they can say, we're back, baby.
What a game. What a game.
What a
From
game.
the Tigers. How many times do you think Jimmy Dykes said season-changing win for Auburn? That was his line tonight. That was his line tonight. Hey, but he's not wrong. He's not wrong. What a win. The Auburn fans are hopping in. Zach's here. Zach, you better be hyped. You better be hyped. What a performance right there. What a performance. 43-28 at halftime. It was all Tigers in the first 20. All Tigers in the first 20. Keyshawn Hall came to play, Blake. He came to play. Physical. Hey, when we did our Saturday best bets with Brian Edwards, and he said, I like the Gators, Max, what do you think? Is there any pushback? And I said, well, I mean, the only thing is that this is a team that had John Calipari cursing in the post-game press conference because of how physical this team was. Maybe, it hasn't been consistent, but man, Auburn does got the dudes. They've got the dudes if they all want to show up. And that's exactly what happened in that first half. I'll be honest, Blake. Florida comes roaring back and ties the game. And I texted you. Yeah. I texted you when they tied it. Florida was down 18, and they're going to come back and win this thing. Unbelievable. How did this happen so quickly? And then that second response from Auburn, maybe even more impressive than the first half. Crowds into the game. Uncle Mo is running with the Gators. And Auburn responds there midway through the second half to close this thing out. Some big-time plays there defensively.
Yeah. I think we said in the preview, one of the things I said, Auburn felt like the kind of team that could give Florida some issues. And, of course, we both picked Florida because it just made sense to based on the way the Gators have been playing. But I think we did outline some of those things where we were just kind of like, you know what? If you kind of look at the profile, and as you said, kind of we mentioned that with Brian yesterday and kind of our updated thoughts going into this game, you could see some of those areas where if it's just like, okay, if Auburn brings it, if they, again, I think it always starts on defense. You expect them to find ways to score because, again, they have just sort of I think they have a creative group that can get you buckets in different ways. And if they can just put that all together, because that's what it's going to take to beat Florida, right? And it's somewhat ironic because if you think about it, this time last year, a couple weeks after this, it was early February, but it was somewhat, I don't want to say a similar setup, but if you remember, like Auburn felt invincible. And then what happened? Florida went in and beat them at their place. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, you just kind of like, wait a minute, could that be the win that gets this Florida team really into like another stratosphere? But now it's kind of like, hey, could we be doing the same with Auburn here? This team that just now has won 3 in a row, found a way to win back-to-back road games in the SEC, which not many teams have done this year. Let's call it what it is. And all of a sudden, get 3 of their next 4 at home. The Tigers, who already had a very strong strength of schedule, as we noted, top 5 in the country, and still, at this point, to get a defining win like this before we get to February, get a little momentum going, man, I just thought it was such an impressive thing for them to go in there and win this game based on how well Florida had been playing. So,
I mean, talk about this response from Auburn too. Coming out of that Saturday home game against Arkansas, we had a big debate about the kind of 4 through 8-ish range in our Monday power rankings coming out of that weekend, that January 10th weekend.
Yeah.
I admittedly was the high man on Auburn. I had them 4. Then what do they do? The midweek, go to Missouri, lose by 10. Home against South Carolina, and a little bit of a bounce back spot there after the midweek loss. Only a 4-point win. A little bit rough on the eye test. We drop Auburn back a little bit. We come back a little bit on Auburn, and maybe the stuff we saw on Saturday at home against Arkansas, it wasn't there last week. Then how do you respond? How does Steven Pearl get the boys up? Tuesday, you got to go play one of the hottest teams in the league, an Ole Miss team that's just scrappy, tough to beat. You go to Oxford and win by 12. And then as an 11.5-point underdog, you go to Gainesville, where nobody has been winning, and you knock off the Gators. You control the Gators. Controlled that game. Had Florida playing at Auburn's pace. I mean, it's a heck of a year for the league. I mean, we are going back and forth and up and down. And all you got to do is ride it out at this point. And it looks like Auburn has, I don't know if they've completely figured out the defense, but that was the best defensive performance of the year, I think, for Auburn. That was fantastic. The boys were flying all over the place.
They were. I mean, look, Salty Tiger said multiple times Auburn and Florida will last the longest in the tournament this year. We may have just watched a Sweet 16 matchup. Maybe. We'll see.
Sure.
I mean, if Auburn plays like that, they got a great chance to be one of the last teams standing in the SEC in the NCAA tournament. There's no question. Because like you said, Max, not many teams are doing what they just did. Boy, big gator EJ.
Oh, EJ.
It's his birthday, man. Unreal. So
sorry, EJ.
Unbelievable to do this on EJ's birthday. Quinn's here, $5 super chat. I know Quinn left another $2 super chat with certain things directed at Florida fans. Now I'm going to direct them towards the fans that were hating on Steven Pearl, saying they need to shut up for good. Yeah, well, that's the kind of game that'll shut you up a little bit, won't it, Quinn? That'll get some people headed back in the right direction when it comes to Steven Pearl. I just thought they were the better team today. And, I mean, it's, again, you watch that game and see that they were the better team. And, I think anytime you're playing a road game like that, just getting off to a good start, man, that counts for so much.
Right.
And so, yeah, that was just the super chats rolling in. Some from Quinn, $2 super chat, but one from Zach here, another $2 super chat. He's going to hold that L.
See, that's good competition right there. That's good SEC competition right there.
Yeah.
Big Gator EJ. Outplayed, outcoached, out everything. Let's talk about taking nothing away from Auburn. Heck of a performance by Auburn. Best defensive performance of the year. Your stars showed up when you needed to. Even though Todd Pettiford had only 1 assist to 4 turnovers, you had a sense that he was in control there in that second half. Had that really tough high floater over Condon. That was a huge moment in the game. So all the credit to Auburn there. It is you just pulled off something pretty much no one's been able to do the past 2 years and looked great doing it. For Florida, though, Blake, the way that Auburn was able to pack the paint, it looked like there were 12 arms reaching through the free throw. I mean, there was no space at all. 0 space. Even when they had the Clavchar, Boogie, and Tommy H lineup out there. Not that Boogie's a shooter, but it's the 2-guard lineup where Clavchar's one of those guards with Haugh on the wing, and there's still just no spacing whatsoever. Had to be the most inefficient game for Alex Condon offensively, maybe of his career. 37 minutes, 1 point, 4 turnovers, only 1 assist. I got the feeling his confidence is a little shook right now. He's not playing super aggressive Condon offensive basketball right now. If it wasn't for Tommy H, Blake, I don't know where this team would be. The guy's an absolute freak out there doing everything. I'm a little bit concerned, maybe just moving forward when Florida plays a team that they can't physically dominate, and that when teams are just going to kind of sag off and pack this middle against them.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I'm going to stick with Tommy H as my Mr. Reliable, I guess, from our December awards, because just think about if he doesn't have that kind of performance. So we'll see. I mean, like we say, it's one game, but you better believe we're gonna always try to pinpoint the most notable positives, which again I think squarely focused on Auburn, but. Do you completely jump off the Florida bandwagon after this loss? I don't know why you would. It's one game, but at the same time, I also think it's kind of silly to just downplay Florida because it makes Auburn's win look lesser than, when in reality it's a tremendous win. I'd say it's the best win of any team in the SEC this year. Would you disagree with that in SEC play?
No, it's like the classic student section chanting overrated, and it's
right.
Why are you doing that? That's making our win less.
Accurately rated. Like, come on. It doesn't sound as good, but you should think they're the best team in the country.
Xavier Lee benched in the second half. Only 15 minutes. Didn't play.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is one where like we can't go too far in the opposite direction here. The guy had been playing better, but it was a tough game. So, I was looking at KenPom. I think it's his. Yeah, I mean, it was one of his lowest offensive ratings of the year, but I mean, he only played 15 minutes. I think that was a season low, right? Yeah, played 16 earlier in the season, but yeah, I don't know. Again, it's one game. I don't want to go too far in the wrong direction here with this, but I think you definitely want to give a lot of credit to Auburn, but you can also look at some things from Florida and say, all right, let's see what happens now in your next game and your next couple games. Because remember, they go to South Carolina on Wednesday, but then Alabama next Sunday, and then they're at Texas A&M after that, which all of a sudden becomes a huge game for the SEC title race, because A&M now sits alone by themselves at 6-1 at the top. So
if there was any doubt about Steven Pearl's capabilities of being the head coach of Auburn basketball, I hope they're gone now. I hope they are completely. There should be no more doubt. Okay, for what he just pulled off. Right now, Auburn is up to 25th in KenPom. 2 weeks ago, 38th. You telling me the guy can't develop a team? Come on, Blake. Get a little fired up for Steven Pearl here in his first year. It's a great story in college basketball. It really is. In a year where there's a lot of negativity, a lot of toxicity, what Steven Pearl, it was thrown into the fire, okay, right before the season starts, without a center, without a backup point guard. And he's got this team top 25 in the analytics, on a beeline for the tournament, and just pulled off the best win of the SEC all year. Hats off to Steven Pearl right now. Come on.
Yep. No doubt about it. It's tremendous stuff from Auburn going in, getting the victory. See if there's a couple more. Everybody wants.
He was thrown into the fire, Sam. He was made head coach a few weeks before the season with a poorly constructed roster with no center. That's thrown in the fire.
By the way, I know it's already been answered in the chat, but yeah, it was 1996. That was the answer to this question last time Auburn won in Gainesville. So, yes, it's been a while there, but we'll see. Salty Tiger, I have no idea. If you asked our power rankings right now, I don't have the slightest clue of what that's going to look like. I just can't even imagine what a mess that could be. So, I'm trying to think what they even were last week. I don't know. I can't even remember off the top of my head, but we'll see on that. So,
you remember this, Blake? Well, Ray D,
corner
corner
three.
three.
In 96. I'm going to be honest with you. I do not remember that. Only thing I remember from 96 is probably Kentucky, just because I was, you take the biggest highlights I remember from SEC basketball that year. But there you go. All right.
Big time win.
$2 super chat. Shutting down Condon there. So, yeah. All right.
Looking forward for Auburn. 3 of the next 4 in the jungle.
They're in the jungle.
Get Texas, Alabama, and Vandy at home. Got to go to Knoxville. That's 4 tough opponents, but you get 3 or 4 at home. Go on a little bit of a run here.
Yeah. Stewart with $5 super chat earlier. Gators didn't stand a chance, and he just decided to keep on going with that train of thought right there. It's one way to put it, I suppose. But 9-time champion, $5 super chat. John Summerall, who was all but going to Auburn, was there in attendance. First conference games in Jordan here. Deja vu. That's a good point there, 9-time champion. You may be on to something. Benson in box here, $2 super chat. Power rankings train wreck. Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
Monday's power rankings will be a just complete joke. So, yeah. We might just pull them out of a hat and put somebody at number 1.
The amount of transitive property that we're going to be able to apply.
It's going to be great. We're going to put somebody at 4 and somebody at 5, and then we're going to hear about how 5 beat 4 when 4 beat 2 and 3 beat 1. It's just, come on. There you go.
Right now,
all right.
Half of the league. No, more than half of the league, okay? Between 36 and 11 in KenPom, 9 SEC teams are between 36 and 11. Over half the league is scrunched up into that little 20-spot range in the analytics. And then there's the other half of the league scattered between, 50 and 100. 9 teams scrunched between 11 and 36 right now in the analytics. It is just such a close race.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. So, 9-time champion, $5 super chat. I screenshot the power rings and take them on the side of Neville for motivation. Never change. We appreciate that. Keep doing it. All right. So, Auburn, the story of the day, huge win in Gainesville, and tremendous stuff for the Tigers on that one. All right, we're going to hit on this next one for a few. Keep leaving your super chats, and we'll get to them, of course, if you have anything else you want to discuss on Auburn, Florida. But the next game we're going to get to, and we do kind of, the way the schedule falls today, I don't know that we're going to get to Arkansas LSU, which is still in progress, and it's a 2-point game with 8 minutes left. But we're going to talk about this next one, which was Missouri and Oklahoma. Mac, can you name the last game that you've seen, other than this one, where a team managed to hit 2 buzzer beaters to win the game? 88-87. Trent Pierce buzzer beater to send it to overtime. Mark Mitchell buzzer beater to win it. Absolute chaos in Columbia, Missouri to give the Tigers if you had to play the percentages, we're talking less than a 1% chance of that possibility, I think, going down the way that it did. Maybe lower than that. Unreal.
Absolutely unreal.
Good point here, too. How many?
Yes, no, Jeff Nwankwo's buzzer beater at halftime didn't count. On one of the craziest games I've ever seen. Hands down. One of the craziest games I've ever seen. Trent Pierce buzzer beater, only shot of the game that he made.
Right.
He didn't make another shot. What did Trent Pierce go from the floor?
What was it?
1 of 6.
1 of 6.
He was 0 of 5. Well, I don't know if he maybe missed a shot in overtime or something. That was the only shot he made the whole game from the logo to send it into overtime. And then 3 to win it. Jacob Cruz, right? Jaden Stone, right? Mitchell. The guy's made 7 threes all year. shooting 28% from three. Mark Mitchell bangs it. Yeah, unbelievable. Okay. On one side, you got a season-saving win. Absolute season saver. You lose that game. The Torvik percentages haven't updated. They'll probably update overnight. 16% chance to make the tournament entering that game. A home loss to Oklahoma would have almost been a dagger. And then on the other side, an Oklahoma team that was as desperate as it possibly can get. A coach on the hot seat. A season-changing win here after you get the next two games at home, 2 quad 1 home games. And you're in control most of the game with the lead. It wasn't a huge lead. Largest lead was 6, but it was floating between 0 and 6, kind of Oklahoma most of that way there. Heartbreak. Definition of heartbreak for the Sooners. It is one of the craziest games I've seen. Unbelievable.
Well, one of the I saw the thing about how T.O. Barrett, by the way, didn't know he was getting his first career start until like 8 minutes before the game.
What a dog.
And like, just think about that. Like, there's so many storylines probably coming out of this. I mean, he finishes again, with 21 and 6 and 3 steals, 2 assists. You said it, man. This is one of the wildest games.
So wild.
And I think, just quickly on the Oklahoma side, like you lose that game to now have a 6-game losing streak.
Yeah.
And we mentioned their upcoming schedule, like Arkansas, Texas, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Georgia, Tennessee, A&M, Auburn up next. My goodness, it's brutal. But like for Missouri, I mean, like you mentioned Jimmy D saying that was like a season-changing win for Auburn. Like,
yep.
You really could say the same thing about Missouri. Realistically, like if they lose that game, you're staring down the idea of going to Alabama on Tuesday on a 3-game losing streak. And, we mentioned like they're a team that was already kind of right there on the outside looking in. I think for most people around that first 4 out, next 4 out type range this week in bracketology, lose the home game to Georgia. And so, man, just a huge way to get that win. And like I said, you can play it out 100 times, and maybe that never happens again. But it happened, and that's all that matters. And so, it was very impressive to see the way that this team came out and, was able to, even with the adversity of being down there in the second half, they just found a way, man. And for a team that I feel like has had like some not so great luck over the past, couple of years, hey, they'll be okay with taking that bounce. I think that they were owed one at some point. So
T.O. Barrett is a bully balls point guard. All right, there's not too many of them left around. Okay, in today's day and age, you don't get the true bully ball point guards. All right, not a lot of. I know he's a lot taller, but not a lot of Sean Livingston, little mid-range, back you down type of point guards. And that's not really T.O. Barrett's game. But the guy's made 2 career threes in 49 games. He just put up 21 points and only took 1 3, didn't make it. He's just a grinder. Gets a lot of draws a lot of contact, offensive rebounds. I was a little bit worried, to be honest, for the Mizzou backcourt when Ant Robinson started to, fall just, not progressing the way that we thought he would into this season. I don't know if I'm so worried anymore because T.O. Barrett is an absolute dog. He's a dog. You kiss that worry goodbye if T.O. Barrett is playing like this. I want him to get his turnover rate down a little bit, but I think that's just a product of him being a barrel ball down the lane. Sometimes he coughs it up. I loved that game from T.O. He was aggressive.
Yeah. No, he came to play. And like I said, just the story of just not even knowing you're getting the start. And like, hey, man, you bring it. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm going to be one of your Iron Men of this game. Yeah. And that's exactly what he was. So, tremendous stuff for Missouri. And, like we mentioned, the upcoming schedule at Alabama, Then in the next week, you get, Mississippi State at home. Then you're at South Carolina a week later. They get the midweek off there in between. So it's a big win, no question, because, they've still got some tricky games to go. But in all honesty, like, it feels like they're probably going to stay right there around that bubble for a bit. They're just going to have to, again, pick up one of these. I mean, kind of like the way they've done it so far, right? They already have wins over Florida, Kentucky, and Auburn. Think about that. So, like, Auburn winning today does great stuff for Missouri because, makes that win look stronger. And so that's going to boost them. I'd say probably, they're right there on the line today, maybe in or out. But nonetheless, big one for Missouri, and for Oklahoma, man, I just don't know. So, not sure.
Yeah, Missouri's just and Missouri is going to be a tough grade this year for the committee. They're going to be a really tough grade because their analytics don't really follow kind of the product that you see on the court. But then they'll also, go and lose at Ole Miss and lose at LSU, and they're not bad losses, but they won't cover the analytical projection, and they'll drop back a little bit, and then they'll pick up a great win. This isn't a great win or anything, they were supposed to win this game, but the way that game was playing out, I mean, you're going to absolutely take that. It looked like Oklahoma had that one down the stretch there for a little bit. So it's going to be a tough grade. You got to factor in the no Jaden Stone. You got to factor in the no Trent Pierce. So I think they're floating right now between 60 and 70 in the net. And they're up now to 58th in KenPom. Usually you got to get up to around 45 to make it, but that's just kind of an average. There's a lot of cases in past years of teams that are kind of floating just underneath, maybe right around 50th, that have a few big time wins, maybe an injury to factor in and minimize some losses and stuff like that, and they get in. I think Missouri's going to fall right into that kind of mold there.
Yep. All right. So we're going to do some quick hitters here on the other games. And again, guys, we would love to be able to give equal opportunity to every game, but schedule today has kind of been all over the place, and we've just got, we're going to have to hop off here in about 10 minutes. So, yep. Max, we're going to do some quick hitters on everything else. Texas A&M 92, South Carolina 69. Mentioned the Aggies are now sitting alone at the top of the SEC. The one thing we talked about, we were kind of laughing about earlier, we were like, in the first half, Texas A&M has 11 or 12 threes, whatever it was, against the best three-point shooting defense team in the SEC to this point. And what do you know? The Aggies come out and make 17 of 39 in this game. Zach Clemence, you mentioned him earlier, 7 of 8 from 3, 21 points in 15 minutes. Don't forget, guys, he's 6'11". I mean, what else do you say? The Aggies just do it again. And this one was even more impressive just given what we had seen from South Carolina defensively. And don't forget, too, A&M gets to 92 points. They had 7 points with 7 minutes into the game. So, they were kind of struggling a little bit out of the gate, and then it was just boom. So,
yeah, Zach Clemence played 3 full seasons at Kansas in very limited minutes, but played 3 full seasons at Kansas before transferring to Texas A&M. He made 10 threes. In those 3 seasons with Kansas, he made 10 total. Wow. He just went 7 of 8. There, talk about the confidence that Bucky Ball is putting into his players and the green light that these guys have. Might not be the most talented team. Might not be a perfectly built roster. Might have your best player out for the season. And Bucky Ball says, I don't care. We're playing our style. And there's really nothing you can do to stop us. You're going to play an up and down game. 92 points on only 70 possessions is crazy. That's crazy. That's just crazy. Yeah. I mean, what can you say? They were 51st in KenPom entering the LSU game to start SEC play. They were 51st. Right now, they're 31st. I mean, these guys are they're streaking. The Aggies are streaking, Blake.
They are. And they just keep working the formula.
Yeah.
Like we said, I mean, didn't force a ton of turnovers today. South Carolina had 10, but it really doesn't matter when you're making that many threes. I mean, it's one way or the other, they are going to find a way to beat you. And I just, that's the thing, man. I keep going back to the summer. We were talking about them, as a possible, like sleeper type team, but at the same time, like we thought it would be a different group that was probably getting them there. And it's like it's everybody. And I think that was the big question was like the overall depth of the roster and how many guys that were going to contribute. But I think that's been the surprising thing. There have been so many guys that we weren't even really factoring in as like top contributors that all of a sudden have become top contributors. And so that's been the most impressive thing with Texas A&M.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have a tough – I'm not going to get too high on Texas A&M because they got the midweek off and they got a double road the next 2 games. At Georgia, at Alabama will probably be slight underdogs in both of those. If Buckyball goes and splits 1 of 1, you got Florida and Missouri at home the next 2. I don't think they're going to slip back in the SEC standings. I don't think they are. I think it sets up kind of well for them. 6-1 now in the league.
Yeah, I mean the closing stretch to their schedule is absolutely manageable when you look at the way it sets up. So I think they're going to be right there entering that final week or 2 of SEC play. I don't think they're going anywhere in the title race. I
mean, that is just nuts. Buckyball in his first year at Texas A&M, the latest coach in the cycle, all the players were already committed. He had to scramble to put together a roster. 6-1, right there in the title race. Oh, that you want to talk about coach of the year? Coach of the year conversations. He may not win it, but you can't have the conversation without him right now. You just can't.
No. All right. So there's that. South Carolina hosts Florida next Wednesday. Then they host LSU. So at least get a couple games in Columbia there. All right. Thoughts on who else have we not hit? Texas. Talk about a weird game.
Holy smokes.
Texas wins by 20 over Georgia, which you may ask, well, come on. I mean, that's obviously a big win for Texas, but what's so interesting about that? Well, Georgia was up by like 9 at one point. They're up 7.5. And Texas just came out in the second half and just absolutely took it to them. I was not expecting the game to swing like that, the way that it did, Max.
It was 48-48, tie ball game with 14:35 remaining. With 14:35 remaining, 48-48. Texas goes on over the next 14 minutes to score 39 points and holds Georgia to 19. 30. That is just bananas of a 14-minute, 30-second stretch for any team. What have we said with Texas over the past few weeks? Dangerous team because of the fouls that they can put you in. They can get your front court in foul trouble. Almost guaranteed they're going to put your front court in foul trouble. If they shoot well, that combination of those 2 aspects make this team very tough to beat if they're shooting well. Well, what happened in that second half? T-Mark gets going. Cam Heide hits a few threes, some offensive rebound kickouts, some backbreakers after 30 seconds of good defense. Bang, there's an offensive rebound kickout 3, and it just leads to some bad shots, some quick forced shots from Georgia, trying to force the tempo, trying to get back into the game, take some quick shots. And man, huge win for Texas. And more importantly, the way that they won it, great for the net. It is fantastic for Texas's analytics. This is going to be huge for their tournament seeding but their tournament hopes.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, the way that game started, I was like, yep, feel pretty good about Georgia here. Just look at what the Bulldogs have been doing. They just won that game at Missouri, riding high, up at half, and Texas just said, I don't think so. Like, we got to have this one. And, that was kind of the thing, right? We keep talking about the spot game. Texas was in the spot game, and they came back. Just a huge win. Like you said, it'll be significant for their NCAA tournament resume just based on how they won that one. And so, Texas, very important too. We mentioned that because their next 2 games are on the road at Auburn, at Oklahoma. And meanwhile, for Georgia, who's still sitting fine at 16-4, 4-3 in the league, they're going to come back home for games against Tennessee and Texas A&M. So those are crucial games for Georgia. just based on, again, them trying to kind of stay in the hunt too when it comes to the title race and such. So, yeah, it's just, this feels like another one that just kind of defines the SEC this year. This is exactly the kind of games that you just look up and are like, oh, yeah, the team that was up 7 got beat by 20 on the road. So, just how it works.
That's how it goes.
All right. We had a $5 super chat here from 9-time champion earlier. It says Aiden Holloway, Charles Bediako, and Tennessee are all going to be standing around at shoot around telling stories about their Final Four experiences or lack thereof. Oh. I know what that was.
9-time.
I know what that was. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to hop off. And our plan is probably to get to Arkansas, LSU, Alabama, Tennessee tonight after the Alabama-Tennessee game with one caveat. I'm not sure we're going to do it this evening. We may do it tomorrow morning. I think Chris may join me. We may do this tomorrow morning. We'll see. But just turn on your notifications, subscribe, all that good stuff. We will talk about these two games at some point this weekend. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow morning. Just letting you know right now, weather, chaos, all that kind of stuff. The freezing rain has started. The ice storm is headed right for Nashville. Hopefully everybody else stays out of the ice. Hopefully you're all just getting snow because we are right in the center of the ice apocalypse here. And that usually means the power's going out. Not looking forward to that, Max Barr.
No guarantee here, but if you guys do it tomorrow morning, we could have a first ever Max sleep deprivation stream because I have an overnight 8:30 to 6 a.m. shift.
I wouldn't do that to you. I would not do that to you.
Can you imagine?
I know. I would not do that to you. So, but we're considering options here because the thing is, like, Tennessee, Alabama probably won't be over to like 11 Eastern. So we're just we're trying to figure that part out. So we'll decide on how we want to do that. All right, there you have it, guys. We appreciate you watching as always. Thanks for the super chats. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Don't forget to support our friends over at AndCollar, ANDCollar.com. SEC 16, 16% off over there. Pants, quarter zips, polos, suits, button-ups. They got it all. Performance menswear, tremendous stuff. Head over there, SEC 16% off over at AndCollar. And ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com, the world's strongest magnetic phone case. Extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock, secure mounting, SEC 25, 25% off over at ROKFORM. All right, as we said, Arkansas fans, if you're jumping in here, hold that thought because we will talk about this game either later tonight or tomorrow morning because the fact is I haven't gotten to see most of the second half because we've been doing the stream. So there you go. Again, everyone stay warm, stay safe, all that good stuff. And thanks as always for watching. We'll talk to you soon here at Southeastern 16 presented by Fan.